It's chapter 14, and I'd like you to start thinking about fate. The ancient Greeks believed that fate was the only force in the world stronger than the gods. And when we think about fate, we often consider where we're going, but we forget that it's formed from where we started. Let's figure out where these characters started. Welcome to Chapter by Chapter. By this point, the real reason for the Norfolk trip has become evident. Chrissy and Rodney want to know about Hailsham deferrals. In fact, the mission to find Ruth's possible is so far gone that Chrissy and Rodney prioritize finding birthday cards over her. And as angry as Ruth should be over this betrayal, she continues to pretend to know something about these rumors and sides with the veterans over Kathy. Basically, the whole trip sucks until Rodney finds the office. And sure enough, inside is a woman who looks strikingly like a version of Ruth 30 years into the future. No, that's not right. Ruth and the others won't make it to 50, or even 40. This woman looks like Ruth would, had she a future unlike the one fate has dealt her. Back to the story. Kathy tells us that the woman we'd seen was by no means out of the question. But Ruth isn't content just seeing her possible from a distance. Instead, the group waits a full 15 minutes by a low wall, waiting for Ruth to decide if they are returning to the office or going back to the cottages. And Kathy struggles to read Ruth during this scene. She just sits there with a sort of half smile. And what I think it is that Ruth is carefully weighing the options. If she leaves, she'll never know if this person is truly her possible. If she goes back, then she can find out the truth. But then she has to live with it. But all of a sudden, Tommy sees the woman walking down the street, and now Ruth's time for deliberation has run out. Ruth jumps up and decides to follow the woman. Eventually, they end up on a side street where they watch the woman walk into a small art studio. And of course, going to an art studio must hold special significance for the Hailsham students, who are raised on the excitement of the exchanges in the gallery. The group heads in and is enjoying the painting and the adventure of the situation, but soon, Kathy and the rest of the group get an unsettling feeling. Here's Kathy describing it on 163. And as we kept listening to them, stealing the odd glance in their direction bit by bit, something started to change. It did for me, and I could tell it was happening for the others. If we'd left it at seeing the woman through the glass of her office, even if we'd followed her through the town then lost her, we could still have gone back to the cottages excited and triumphant. But now, in that gallery, the woman was too close, much closer than we'd ever really wanted. And the more we heard her and looked at her, the less she seemed like Ruth. It was a feeling that grew among us almost tangibly, and I could tell that Ruth, absorbed in a picture on the other side of the room, was feeling it as much as anyone. That was probably why we went on shuffling around that gallery for so long. We were delaying the moment when we'd have to confer. This takes us back to an earlier conversation about the risk involved with finding truths. We think of truth as a fundamentally positive concept, as something that sets us free. But as anyone who's read an Ibsen play knows, and spoiler warning for those of you reading The Wild Duck next, it can destroy us too. As the woman walks away, the group all come to the consensus that she wasn't Ruth's possible. They each take turns offering various forms of sympathetic condolences, but Ruth has seen more than them. She's pierced the veil on a truth none of them were prepared to stare down. And she voices this capital T truth in some of the most profound words in the entire novel. This is page 166 in my book. Ruth suddenly sighed and turned to us. To be honest, she said, I knew all along it was stupid. Yeah, said Tommy eagerly. Just a bit of fun. Ruth gave him an irritated look. Tommy, please shut up with all this bit of fun stuff. No one's listening. Then, turning to Chrissy and Rodney, she went on. I didn't want to say it when you first told me about this, but look, it was never on. They don't ever use people like that woman. Think about it. Why would she want to? We all know it, so why don't we all face it? We're not modeled from that sort of Ruth, I cut in firmly. Ruth, don't. But she just carried on. We all know it. We're modeled from trash. Junkies, prostitutes, winos, tramps, convicts maybe, just so long as they aren't psychos. That's what we come from. We all know it, so why don't we say it? A woman like that? Come on. Yeah, right, Tommy. A bit of fun. Let's have a bit of fun pretending. That other woman in there, her friend, the old one in the gallery, art students. That's what she thought we were. Do you think she'd have talked to us like that if she'd known what we really were? What do you think she'd have said if we asked her? Excuse me, but do you think your friend was ever a clone model? She'd have thrown us out. We know it, so we might as well just say it. If you want to look for possibles, if you want to do it properly, then you look in the gutter. You look in rubbish bins. Look down the toilet. That's where you'll find where we all came from. In the end, Rodney and Chrissy decide the best way to get Ruth's mind off everything is to go visit Martin. But Kathy and Tommy elect to stay behind, and the Hailsham trio splinters apart as the chapter ends. On a lighter note, I would like to thank all of you for watching. It's a really special video for me because by the time I finish editing this, unless there's a mass exodus for some reason, I'm going to be at 1,000 subscribers, or at least very close to 1,000 subscribers, and a great portion of that has been from these most recent videos on Never Let Me Go. So it's just been a really motivating and exciting time for my channel, and yeah, just thank you for any and all support that you've given, the comments and the views, and you know, yeah, it's been awesome. So really, really excited to continue working on the channel, and I'm hoping to announce a couple changes and additions and some enhancements in the near future, but I'm also planning on finishing out Never Let Me Go. We're within 10 chapters, everyone. We're gonna make it. Keep on reading, have fun. It's a heck of a finish. See you next time.